You know, you mentioned what does this list bring to the table, right? For me, it's consistency. This red list looks very, very consistent. Unless you draw all of your top end, it looks like it's the sort of list that you know what you're getting every game. And with high health heroes, very resilient heroes, you're not going to struggle in the early game. And we're going to see it perform here. I like this matchup against blue, but you know, we've been talking about red-green being very prominent and his very high rolly deck. Maybe this was meant to target that as well.
And right away we see Ogre Magi surviving first battle.
Yeah, but you know, talking about consistency here, we're going to see a Mercenary Exiles probably come down somewhere in this first round. We do see Bristleback getting likely a kill early because there's no defensive tools in OMG Rename's hand.
Luna, not as fortunate, does go to the graveyard right away turn 1, and this is a 44 card deck for Rename, so you do have those extra compels, the extra cunning plans, but in this case not drawn anyway, so play better, Rename, make better decks, because you're supposed to draw these cards early. That's the whole point of running 44 cards in this case, lowering that curve.
I really like this placement here, looking for the curve. Doesn't catch it, but a big fan of that play. Now the nice thing is that with Axe being across from Canna, unless there's a defensive item that comes down, the Canna will likely go down next turn as well, and we get an early activation on that Exiles.
And also, I like in lane 3 because you know there's going to be creeps there. You know it's going to trade perfectly against creeps, so you have that guaranteed value already. We see double creeps in lane 2 for Gela. You know, 2 heroes lane 1, so trying to take control of every single lane. You have every, you know, resources split everywhere. You have the creeps in lane 2, 2 heroes in lane 1, and just a very weak Ogre there as well. And that Mercenary Exiles dueling those creeps in lane 3.
Yeah, I actually really like this plan of attack from Gela, basically saying, you know, I'm going to put pressure in every lane, and it's going to be up to you to defend them all. And I'm not sure that this deck will be able to do so based on the hand right now. Now we see some drawing tools, right? Cunning Plan, Foresight, so things could get a lot better, but just right now it's looking in favor of Gela.
Yeah, and this is, I think the dream matchup. Mono Red is here to defeat Mono Blue. It has, you know, like I said, a very strong early game against it, can really punish it quite well. We could see Bronze Legionnaire here to trade with that creep as well. And we see all these creeps dying, so Dimensional Portal, normally a ton of value. In this case, not that much, just, you know, serving to block some damage, but getting some Gela some gold as well, 3 gold there.
Now,
instead.
It is worth noting that the Dimensional Portal also did not multicast, so Rename really needs to work on those RNG skills.
Looks like Bronze Legionnaire might come into lane 3 instead. We did not see lane 1 instead. We saw the Viscous Nasal Goo. Kanna's already dying in lane 2, so it's not really needed, and there is no item in hand. You can see that in Rename's hand if you're Gela. Obviously, you see the items with the border, so you know for sure if an item was bought. And there was no gold either because Mono Blue, I mean, let's be honest. Turn 1, not going to get much gold, not much killing to be done.
Yeah, and by saving this Legionnaire for the 3rd lane, if it goes across the other melee creep, you're essentially going to clear everything out of that lane. So again, if your plan of attack is to pressure all 3 lanes pretty evenly and equally, doing a great job right now. Smash the defenses.
That is value. I mean, when that happens, you feel so good because that is just the best value you can find in this matchup. I think Sanctum still being the 3rd tournament art, like, it's still an underrated card. I think it's just fantastic, especially in Mono Blue. You could have so many card draw with Foresight and Cunning Plans, for example, to just cycle through your deck. But that was just a very value trade there for Gela, and it's going to really favor her, I think, in this, you know, going into the mid game.
Yeah, now another pro to the Mono Red list, right? So normally when you're playing against something like Green Red that was running Smash their defenses, you can kind of play around it by trying to deploy Sanctum someplace where the red heroes are not. But in this instance, every lane is going to have a red hero. Everywhere you go, it's in danger. So nothing that Rename could do to avoid that. Just kind of had to suck it up and take it.
And the good thing about Artifact and the colors and how well I think the color philosophy is done is when you're playing against Mono Red, you know that certain things don't exist. You don't really have direct damage aside from Sucker Punch. You don't really, so you can play around that. Kanna's very low, but she knows that unless it's combat damage, she's not going to be dying next turn. So she has a chance to cast something like a Foresight, keep that lane alive. Annihilation not there yet to stop any damage, but it's something that these players have to think
comes
about.
Up.
Yeah,
we do have
Duel
some
is one of the cards.
Do have some cards that are potentially available. Now we're going to see this Beastmaster come down. This is, in my opinion, one of the more underrated red heroes. I mean, we did see it a little bit at the last WePlay tournament. LifeCoach, SuperJJ, WifeCoach, they brought lists that had it, but Primal Roar, not Berserker's Call. Primal Roar is a very, very powerful card, and by running 5 red heroes, you're going to maximize the chances that you'll have good positioning to use it.
It can't get better than that, unless you have 3 face boots as well, and that's just maybe overkill.
All right, so Things still looking really good for Gela right now. However, 2 Annihilations in hand, and now a Mystic Flare and an Eclipse. So when it comes to stalling...
Conflagration was a great draw. This is the turn where we want to play that. Obviously at 5 mana, there isn't really much more to do in blue with 5 mana. It's always going to be, you know, 4 mana play for the most part, waiting for that 6 mana to open up so many possibilities. But in this case, Conflagration is going to be great.
Yeah, so...
Sanctum, also fantastic.
Yeah, what I was just getting ready to say is that when it comes to stalling, 6 is like the magic number for blue decks, and that's going to come online next turn. And unfortunately, though Gela's been, you know, consistently in control of each lane, not a lot of pressure generated, right? Like the towers are taking damage, but not close to falling. So there is a chance for Rename starting next turn to really push things in the other direction.
Now, Fight Through the Pain could steal back initiative for next turn when it really matters, with Annihilation, for example, coming online. So that's something that Rename has to be careful about. He has to, you know, watch out for that for sure.
Yeah, initiative incredibly important in this matchup because of things like Annihilation, Mystic Flare, and so forth. Now, Gela has Berserker's Call in hand, does not right now have a duel or anything of that nature, but could pick it up. So we're gonna be monitoring this because these towers are not in danger of falling. Like I said, in control, but not pressuring as much as maybe needed to be.
And I like the Viscous Nasal Goo here to bring the Zeus down to 1 HP, where Whirling Death can finish it off next turn if initiative is in favor of Gela. For example, playing Fight Through the Pain in lane 1, so we'll see if she goes down that lane of play. Maybe just waiting here, but nothing to wait for, really. Mana has been spent and no items either. I guess Skywrath Mage, there's no... actually, there's no reason to play it, really. You're not I guess the creep could die. Yeah, that's fine. And because Skywrath Mage is dying, he's not back for 2 turns anyway, so you're not losing anything other than initiative by doing that.
Right, and initiative was already in favor of Gela because she was opting to pass instead of play, so again, really no risk at all there in that activation. And it looks like Gela just doesn't even want to have to risk using the Fight Through the Pain. Has it as a bit of a backup in case we see the Arcane Assault come here, and I like that move. She's showing some quality decision-making, knowing that, you know, 6 is a big deal for blue. 6 mana is where so many cards come online for that deck.
And we see no Time of Triumph in hand. Oh, there's that Sanctum, no smash to answer back from Gela this time, so...
Yeah, well...
But having it in lane 3, though, isn't as great, because we talked about, obviously, you know, Mono Blue, especially with Thunder God's Wrath, for example. If you cast it from lane 1 and you have a double Thunder God's Wrath even from lane 1, you can kill everything on the board before it even gets to those lanes. So lane 3, not as great, still fantastic, but loses a tiny bit of value, I think.
All right, so we did see the exchange of initiative cards there. The Assault was played and then was followed by the Fight Through the Pain. And off of the Assault, Rename picked up another Sanctum. So while the first one was smashed, a couple more have been picked up since that point.
And now one of these lanes will go down.
Yes.
You can take control of one lane with Berserker's Call, for example, onto the Luna. It could happen here with Legion Commander. Will kill it only at 8 HP. Obviously, Retaliate will go through. No armor on Luna. But then lane 2, with Zeus still alive, even though he's very low, is open to Annihilation.
All right, so a second Berserker's Call is picked up and another Smash Their Defenses. It's a very good call. Clears everything up. And I have to think that we're going to just let this resolve. Looks like the daggers is just to get additional damage in. Didn't really need it for the effect.
A weapon. Good. Good.
But now Conflagration next turn will kill Legion Commander on an upkeep. It's going to be 2 damage, so that's not fantastic for Gela there. We're going to see, I'd imagine, Annihilation here. It's too risky not to, I think. Or, I mean, that's really the only choice here.
Now, in theory, you could consider passing if you were trying to bait out maybe the Beastmaster activation if somebody wanted to be greedy, but there's no reason for Gela to do that, so...
Then you have Berserker's Call, you have Duel, you have too many options that can deal with it here, so... And the tower's already at 20 HP, so it's too risky, I think. Annihilation, the first one does come down, so that's 1 Annihilation down for Rename, but does stall that lane out, takes control next turn with 2 heroes coming in and no heroes for Gela.
Now, one thing to note about Annihilation is when you use it, you guarantee give up initiative for the following lane. So Gela, if they wanted to, for example, could have used a call there just to make sure that this was going to go smoothly as well, but opting instead to pass here. Which is a bit interesting because even if you're not going to use the call, there are some options that you could have taken previously. Maybe like a preemptive Smash Their Defenses, something like that, but open now.
I like the call here. I think it just pushes damage. You can buff up the Mercenary Exiles as well to push a lot of damage. Put this tower, quite low. Well, it would still be hitting the minions.
Yeah, the
so.
unfortunate arrow there, I think,
Yeah.
is actually what's making her hesitate. I think it would have been a very easy Berserker's Call if that arrow was going straight, but no, that's a big pickup.
And that's, I think, the mind game there from Gela, where you let your opponent play a card first, and your opponent thinks he has the refresh, so he has it to maybe play something like low value, something that's not as impactful, and then refreshes and plays actually, important card or impactful card. And having that smash coming in the middle of that could stop, a great play from Rename instead. But in this case, I don't think it stopped too much. I think there was a second Sanctum that could have been played cross lane to lane 1 maybe or lane 2, but pretty heads up play still in the mind game department from Gela.
All right, so the good news for Gela is a lot of pressure finally was generated on the first lane. Unfortunately, the bad news is, as you said last time, Legion Commander is going to go down. That creep is going to go down, so we're just going to have the Timbersaw and 1 melee creep trying to finish it off, and with a couple of deploys coming in favor of Rename, that's going to be a difficult task.
Initiative is in favor for Rename as well, something to keep in mind. We see at any cost. Not going to kill Timbersaw here, and we'll kill the Ogres. Are probably not the best option.
I like the hero split, making sure that you have a blue hero in the middle lane by Rename, simply because of cards like Spring the Trap. Even though Gela does not have a presence in that lane, you don't want to risk giving it up to some cross-lane play.
We see Time of Triumph was drawn for next turn for Gela, so there is that, very impactful card, or a game-winning card even, for Mono Red. Obviously the most important card in the deck, I think, in the late game.
Yeah, both players have actually amassed pretty sizable hands. So when it comes to tools available, I think both players have everything they're looking for. It's just going to be a matter of, how do you execute it. And we do see Mystic Flare come down. I know the analysts were talking about the inclusion of Skywrath. Mystic Flare doing some work.
Yeah, very easy kill there. Obviously Conflagration doing a good job of softening up these very big red heroes, making it so that, Mystic Flare is an easy pickup there on Timbersaw. And Jasper Dagger just pushing him extra damage here. And takes away, of course, the Viscous Nasal Good debuff as well. So
yes, actually got some value there.
People think about Gust and think about these very important stun plays, but that is also debuff Viscous Nasal Good. We're going to see that a lot. Bristleback is a very popular hero, so great use there from Rename.
Yeah, Bristleback's actually been rising in popularity. We've even got a couple of lists that are going to be coming in the tournament where Bristleback is present and Axe has been removed. But as far as this game goes, this is a lane that's all Rename. They can kind of do whatever they want. Play the Sanctum, probably going to see the Ignite go out somewhere as well, and then a refresh, and then maybe even more. We might see a portal and start pressuring here. Like at some point, the blue decks have to do something to at least get chip damage in if they're trying to finish with the Bolt. We might see that.
You can play at any cost if you want to BM a bit. just a tiny bit.
Yeah, that would be maximum bad manners at that point.
You have brought this on yourself.
All right, so that just makes lane 1 very scary, and there's still 12 HP to deal with here. So, I mean, Time of Triumph will, make it a lot better looking for Gela there, stopping any conflagration damage and only 1 damage taking in from Ignite, but still making it hard to go back into that lane, which you do have to do. It's at 12 HP. It's very close to dying, but you need to push through that damage still.
All right, so here we have, like I said, we could see a dimensional portal if you want to say, let's put some presence here. We could see Glyph of Confusion as well. We have 4 heroes at the fountain right now for Gela, right? So if there was a time to play Glyph and get some value from deploys, this might be it. If that's the case, like which lane are you looking at here?
The problem is the board isn't really wide enough. You want to play Glyph when you have a sizable board already with Prey on the Weak, with Dimensional Portal. Maybe the next turn could be the chance to do that, because if you play Glyph now, then sure, you have a blue hero dealing damage, but it's still not going to do too much other than stop 1 play or 1 turn of plays where you still have these huge bodies that are going to be there next turn anyway. So I think you want to have something like a Prey on the Weak or just a big developed board instead, and then play Glyph to make it yours completely.
Now, is it possible you think that we see a Glyph get cross lane played back to the middle after developing Dimensional Portal from here?
Be. But still, I think it might be too early. It's kind of like the Oath. It's a card that you have to be very careful how you play and when you play, because it could be your game-winning play or it could be your demise if you're not careful.
All right, so Gela is going to spring the trap over into the lane where there is both Conflagration and Ignite. But again, she knows she has to push that down somehow. So I do like this play. 8 health means they'll survive at least a couple of turns without some help.
It also widens the board if some heroes do come into that that lane, they're going to be hitting tower for sure, unless, you know, something like a Prey on the Weak or a Dimensional Portal is played from Rename side.
And Rename says, I would like initiative, plays the Assault.
It had the mana for Ignite, but...
Had the mana, but wants the initiative.
He has one more Annihilation in hand, for example. He has the Glyph as well.
Now, Gela has a Cloak available. She wants to pick it up, but looks like opts to not do that.
And this deployment is incredibly important here, because Annihilation could, you know, I think it's just smart. If he annihilates mid, then he's just, you know, almost doing as much damage to himself, Rename. So
I like this potential play by Gela. All right, opted to not do it. The reason I was almost a fan of the double deploy middle is because with the improvements in the first lane and knowing that they wanted initiative for something in the first lane, if you just kind of avoid it, then you might get things going in your favor. But by doing this, they have to respect it, and now they have to play something. So.
And there's not going to be an Annihilation here because, you know, it's a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Gela instead of Rename, so it's not really that you know, great a play, I think, in Rename side, unless he really needs it to stop the direct damage to tower, which is not the case here. At any cost, also not that great. I mean, it kills the 2 creeps, but it does not kill the Beastmaster. Maybe after a few cards are played, it could be an option for 3 mana, but we'll see.
Now, it is worth noting, Time of Triumph is online, but so are Primal Roar and Berserker's Call.
Eclipse at 5 charges could kill everything but 1 thing, or maybe if he gets unlucky, 2 things stay alive. There's 7 charges needed to kill everything in this lane, only 5 charges there for the Luna, which did die very early on to the Bristleback. So lost some charges there, and the second Annihilation was drawn as well. We see a lot of cards. We see duels in hand for Gela. We see a lot of big creeps as well that would just instantly be answered by something like an Annihilation, so we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, this is going to be one heck of a match to see the jockeying, right? Because, again, both players have all the tools they want. The blue player has a number of ways to wipe out somebody's board. The red player has a number of ways to battle that if they have initiative, right? Whether it's Call or Roar or Duel, and then has big creeps and Time of Triumph as finishers. So whichever player, I think, manages initiative and kind of the mind games, if you will, of the other one is likely going to take this game.
No creeps in hand for Rename to stop this damage coming in. The Brawler does a great job of, like we said, big health pool. That's what red is all about, and the Brawler is exactly that. 16 health to, you know, take a lot of damage from Eclipses, from the Mystic Flare as well. So does a good job of doing that. And we see a Blink Dagger. We see Annihilation. I think this is, you know, a step-by-step, you know, tutorial how to annihilate in 2019. We're gonna see Rename.
But here's the thing, that Ogre only has 5 health.
And the duel is here.
So the duel could be a massive, there it is, a massive counter to this.
So I think Gela has also seen this tutorial online. She knows what was coming. She saw the steps very clearly outlined, and this is a guaranteed kill, even with Conflagration and Ignite here. Now, this makes it a lot more awkward for Rename to come back into this lane. When you play a Conflagration and an Ignite and it's kind of wasted because you're not going to contest that lane anyway, it does feel bad. So Gela does win, I think, that kind of mind game play there. And that's 1 lane taken down, only 1 more lane needed.
Now, what's interesting to me is that Gela did use the healing item to keep the Beastmaster there the following round. Is there a reason you think that she wants that presence in the first lane?
Well, you don't have String the Trap right now, so you can't get any cross-lane plays, but you can potentially go for an Ancient kill. I mean,
maybe just trying to make
it's
Rename respect it. Maybe
yeah.
Maybe make Rename deploy there and then use some resources.
Ignite coming into lane 3, so that's going to be, you know, 2 lanes now where Rename is putting in a lot of pressure. Double Ignite is even better than 1 Ignite if the math checks out.
You are extra on fire in that scenario.
Berserker's Call, though, almost enough, but Axe will not be killing the Kana immediately. Primal Roar, though.
Primal Roar, however, is a great way to shut down this lane. There is no Jasper Daggers on the side of Rename, and this is why I like this card.
7 damage goes through. Could be 12 after the pump here onto the Mercenary Exiles, so the lane getting a lot closer to being down. Luna dies anyway. There's no Blink Dagger in hand right now for Rename. He does have 12 gold, though, and the chance to find it. But it's going to be to be continued because you can't see a secret shop right now.
Yeah, unfortunately. Now, Gela opting, interestingly enough, for the Fountain Flask over the actual Stonehall Cloak. Maybe just kind of playing a bit of a gold mind game.
Your analysis is all about the Blink Daggers. You have no hero deployments. That lane 3 is looking scary. You have Blink Dagger on Timbersaw. Blink Dagger in hand. Legion going to lane 3.
I like everything about this.
You have Time of Triumph available. Could be played lane 1 and then double Blink to lane 3 to make it, even scarier, where you have to have Annihilation or it's going to be over. And you have Berserker's Call as well. So I love this. I mean, if it goes perfectly for Gela, she gets Time of Triumph, she gets a good Berserker's Call option in terms of positioning for lane 3, and the initiative is lost because of that, Blink from rename to lane, and that's a second Time of Triumph, so that's all even scarier
Well,
now.
it's looking like it's not going to matter because rename did not find Blink Daggers. So I have to imagine we're going to see a Time of Triumph and a double Blink, and then there will be no answer, no response in that third lane.
Already here, 40 damage going in, but we will be seeing, a lot of deaths next turn.
Yeah, no, I think that we're going to see them both blink all the way to the right lane because, again...
But it's scary. We have information that Gela does not have. She's an item in hand.
But Gela, if she's paying attention to the gold, right, knows that it was 10 gold spent on one item, so that is not going to be a Blink Dagger in any combination, right, even if you spent the 1 gold to hold something, for example. So I assume we're going to see both of these come over, and that'll wrap up this game.
Sanctum is there in lane 2, so she could also be scared of a Blink into an Arcane Assault, for example. The mana is there. This tower's not going down yet, but you do have the Prey on the Weak and a lot of damage units, so it could be going down. Foresight looks... Thunder God's Wrath does not kill anything, but 2 of them, well, now you can't do that, so never mind. And there's no ramp, obviously, in Mono Blue either, but the hero stayed in lane 1, so she's respecting the possibility of a Blink Dagger. I guess maybe she did not count the gold there, but either way, you already have lethal in lane 3. There's already 18 damage. There's the forfeit from rename, so it would not have mattered anyway. If there's a Blink Dagger, well, you still get initiative back, and it's going to be fine anyway.
She does take it down. Now, if you're wondering, hey, why would the double Blink over there matter? There was enough damage there already. One of the things that could have been a play that you would fear, because Sanctum was in the second lane, and because you're playing against Zeus, both of the heroes in the right lane only had 8 health, so if you didn't take the Blink, there was a chance that in that middle lane it could have been Thunder God's Wrath, Sanctum, Thunder God's Wrath, and prevented that. So that's why I was expecting the Blink, but doesn't matter. Ultimately, in the end, she takes a victory and is up 1-0 in the series.
And that's the scariest Sanctum play. When I see that, when I see the first one and I see the Sanctum refresh, I'm like, please don't do it to me. They always do it. Every single time they have it.
That's why I thought for sure we were going to see the Blink. But she's got faith and it worked. But now she cannot play with the red deck again against Conquest format. You're going to be playing blue.
Mono
Hope
blue.
you like
so
blue.
The tables switch around. We didn't see any mono blue in the last match between Petrify and MyGoodMate. In this case, we do see a lot of it. There's only 9 in the tournament though, so a lot less than I expected. We're going to jump right into this game. 2 of this series could be a 2-0 for Gela. Could be a comeback from rename. We'll find out very soon. But mono blue against mono blue. What an exciting match, Charmer. This is what I come here for.
If I were a betting man, I would put all of the money on the person playing blue. Somebody playing blue is going to win this.
Risky play. I mean, I'll have to check with my advisors, but I might follow you up on that one. We'll see. We'll see.
All right. So looking at this, not only is it a mirror match, but we're getting a perfectly mirrored opening with Luna versus Luna, Ogre Magi versus Ogre Magi, and Canna versus Canna as far as the lane randomization goes.
This is why they call it mirrors. This is literally, you put a mirror in the middle of the board, and you're seeing the same exact thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, these Lunas didn't get the memo, and they didn't have the passive triggers the same, but both players also opening up with some plays themselves. I hope you like blue. I hope you like Ignite. We're seeing a lot of Ignite.
I mean, this opens up the chance, the small chance, but it could happen for Ignite to tick down both these units. Oh, never mind. To 1 HP, and then, okay, well, the Luna can hit the Luna, and then she'll die with a fantastic upkeep kill. That's definitely not RNG.
Not 100%
at all. Skill.
No, it would be OMG, rename, taking it down.
Charmer, don't do that ever again.
I'm going to do it so many times you have no idea. You might be Pandad, but I'm Dad Jokes. It's going to be a long event.
So we'll see. Zeus will help in mitigating the odds.
All
but
right,
Luna,
both players got the memo. We are mirroring the Zeuses as well.
Luna could go down here. It's not going to happen.
I'm waiting with bated breath. And it does.
Called it. I'm a fortune teller.
You just said it's not going to happen. You can't backtrack.
That was the bamboozle. You got tricked, Charmer. That was obviously not the truth.
My apologies. It won't happen again, sir.
But 4 mana opens up so many plays for both players. It's really the turning point in blue. You see, just hugely impactful plays like Sanctum already developing early on, Foresight as well.
Says I'll see your Sanctum, raise you another. Let's keep this mirror going.
There's 1 Maul in Rename's deck in his mono blue list, and they're magically Maul the item. And there's no Mauls actually in Gela's list, so the Sanctum will stick around for a long time in this matchup. Interesting.
So Gela opted for the card draw there. There was a potential, in my opinion anyway, Prey on the Weak there because it would have been a lot of bodies, but the Ignite would have chewed through it. And now
this double curve is magic for Rename. Kills off both units, opens up, clears up the board completely.
Rename said the right prayer to the right RNGesus in between games because that was masterful. Everything you wanted to have happen happened there. All right, so kind of looking at how things are going to play out. We know that the Cannas are going to have, melee creeps just slapping each other for quite some time.
No Ignites, though, in that lane. So a lot of times you see sometimes the rules of Ignite changing when you're playing against Kana because normally you want to go to lane 1, get control of that lane, the most important lane in Artifact. But sometimes against Kana, you want to get control, get the value on all those creeps. You have guaranteed spawns every turn, so you know your Ignite's going to get value. And it synergizes very well with Prey on the Weak as well if you're also playing Kana. But in this case, both Kanas in an unusual position in lane 3, and instead we're going to see a Prey on the Weak and Ignite in lane 2 for Gela instead.
And a multicast. So Gela says, you know what? I'm pretty good at this RNG thing too. I've got some skill. And gets the multicast.
RNG is the taboo word, Charmer. We cannot. There's no RNG.
It's not a word.
It's all.
It's an acronym, sir.
That is true. You could say Arcanist Soul, but again, initiative in Artifact not too important, especially going into mana turn 5. You don't want to have initiative to play Conflagration, really. It's not really a thing. But we will see a lot of dominance in lane 1 from Rename, which I think is very important. You see Sanctum and Ignite in that lane as well. So, and this is the thing where Gela cannot give up lane 1. She has the Sanctum there. She has to, get the value from that card, the improvement that was played. And we talked about Thunder God's Wrath as well against blue heroes that are all very squishy, except for Kana. Thunder God's Wrath, uncontested, can just, clear the whole board and have 2 turns of Solitaire if you're playing it from lane 1 as well.
So the interesting thing is that mono blue matchups, when you're in the mirror like this, are all about windows of opportunity, right? Because yes, Rename has what looks like a really firm control, firm grasp on that first lane, but it only takes 1 Annihilation to kind of undo all of that, right? It only takes 1 board clear, and so when you're playing blue against blue, you're looking to do exactly kind of what Rename is doing here. You create a window of opportunity, get chip damage in, get damage in now, because it's really important to get the towers low enough that Bolt can finish them off later. There's going to be a lot of back and forth in this matchup between the board clears and the ability to play Prey on the Weak or Dimensional Portal and kind of flood things out.
Now, without an Ignite here on the board for Gela means that Prey on the Weak is a lot less valuable in this lane. Only 2 dogs would spawn, so not fantastic. And Zeus could zap him anyway, with so many plays available with the Sanctum there as well.
Rename taking that very nice move, making sure that Zeus gets the damage in.
We see an item in hand for Gela. Town Portal Scroll, and of course Rename does not know what it is, so it could be a heal, could be a Traveler's Cloak, so the chance for an upkeep kill is here for Rename, but I think he is going to play. Ooh, this is huge.
Yeah, this is a big deal.
This might force out the Prey on the Weak, and it's an RNG Prey on the Weak though, because only 2 units spawn, and if they both hit the creeps, then all of a sudden you wasted that card for nothing, and that's one of the win conditions even in blue sometimes.
I mean, I would have had some faith in Gela to get it done, but this is the first lane, so we know that all random effects belong to Rename here. She does not risk it, and unfortunately her Sanctum is now gone.
We talked about the Maul. The only Maul present in both of these deck lists was on Rename's side. Only one of them, and it was found in the item shop. We didn't talk about it before, but again, that's just huge value right away. We saw the Smash in the last game being pivotal as well for Gela. In this case, the tables have turned, and it's now Rename able to take down that Sanctum and just take a lot of value from their opponent.
Yeah, the Maul is a great inclusion because this is certainly the kind of matchup where improvements are going to be plenty, and we've seen that on display here already. Now, Rename has a lot of card draw, right? We just saw the Foresight, but those Arcane Assaults can also cycle. Got a Revelation, got a Cunning Plan. Rename has all of the ways to dig. We see a Prey on the Weak again, okay.
So just trying to push some extra damage there again. If it's a free card, why not play it, right?
Yeah.
Another multicast. That's 2 in a row. Gela's smirking because she knows this is maybe a little bit lucky on her part. And this is going to be also...
No, it's all skill. She trained hard for that.
The creep-on-creep action in this lane means that Prey on the Weak is going to get great value here as well. So we'll see what happens here. Although both players are playing at any cost. So there's this scary thing where if you play it first, you're scared of your opponent stealing that value away from you. So rename, I guess, not scared enough.
Here we go.
There's the mirror instead, and not much happening in this lane. Just Prey on the Weak answer by Prey on the Weak.
Awful lot of dogs. Somebody call animal control.
Well, it's not even needed. They just kill themselves. It's a sad end to the story, but that's how it goes in a mirror match.
Yeah, unfortunately. All right, so again, with both players having the cannon in the same lane, no mystery in where the creeps are going. They're going there every round. Rename's going to get a Luna deploy, and it looking like trying to stall the middle lane. I like this positioning here because so many of those hounds have 1 health, so you're likely to get a lot of value from the passive. That first lane pretty well under your control already. You don't need to give it any additional help.
We get to 6 mana now, which means that a lot of plays open up for blue. We see Eclipses, we see Annihilations, we see Mystic Flares if they're drawn. And at any cost, it's still going to be huge in the middle lane, for example, for Rename if he finds it. He can really slow that down, kill all those dogs, but
yeah,
looks like it might be an Annihilation if Luna does go middle. Oh, a lot of back and forth here. The mind games.
The one thing that I really like about Rename's position in this current game is that he has a solid control of this first lane, and that's very, very important because not only is the Sanctum there, but in a mirror like this, when you have Thunder God's Wrath and Zeus...
The Luna passive?
50-50?
Well, the Ignite kills it anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I was just trying to create false suspense, but in the end, it didn't really matter.
Didn't matter. All right, so... Again, Rename full control here at the moment, but has to respect an opposing Annihilation, uses the Eclipse.
Initiative is there. We see the Sanctum. You can Foresight, you can Cunning Plan, you can even Arcane Assault to get initiative for the next lane, although you might want to Cunning Plan first.
Yeah, no reason to not dig deeper. So much card draw available to Rename. So, kind of looking ahead here. We've got a bloodbath that's going to happen in that third lane. And do you think that either player are going to consider an Annihilation there at some point? Because the interesting thing is there's a lot of presence there, and right now it's slowly tipping in Gela's favor, but neither of those towers are even close to going down.
I think we'll definitely see an attempt from Gela to blink into lane 1, blink backwards after, and then play an Arcane Assault maybe from lane 3 to just have some control and some say for lane 1 next turn, because there's a Sanctum there. We're going to be at 7 mana, and Thunder God's Wrath could come down and clear the entire board. This lane would go down, and then the rest of the lane would look very scary as well. So,
and this is a fantastic play by Rename, because not only are you going to get some additional value, likely killing one of those dogs, but you're going to get an additional tick on your Eclipse. Goes to 6.
Mystic Flare could kill the Ogre and take control over this lane a tiny bit. Or we could see an Eclipse if he wants to.
Yeah, we're gonna take this.
Safer, I think. And of course, Eclipse keeps gaining value as the game goes on, so you want to keep that in hand, let it get more value, unless you need to play it this turn, but I think it wasn't really needed with Mystic Flare there. Stalls that lane out, and now we're going to talk about the Blink Dagger. I think it might come into action here.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing for Gela is that if she does want to take initiative, Rename is sitting on another Arcane Assault.
Oh, I like this as well.
No, the Annihilation. All right. So I was kind of thinking ahead, earlier. We could see it because things are slowly tipping in Gela's favor, even though this tower wasn't under immediate danger. Just respecting it, blowing it up.
And this is lane 1 taken down. This is a full turn of Solitaire for Rename to just control the game completely. Lane 1 will be taken down. He has the Hourglass as well to stop, some draws next turn. He has a lot of items. Stonehawk Cloak to keep his heroes healthy. And of course, Thunder God's Wrath not really needed when there's no heroes to kill.
Yeah, I really liked that play by Rename because of all the times that you would consider annihilating that again, even though that tower was not under danger or immediate danger of going down, here all of the heroes are going to be at the fountain for Gela, right? So losing initiative like you normally do with Annihilation doesn't matter.
I love this, just small thing, but Ogre with the Blink Dagger in hand, you have the chance to multicast and then blink into lane 3 for the extra damage anyway, so it just gets some extra value there that some players wouldn't think about.
The Ogre coming down here as well means that you don't have to do anything additional if you don't want to take this tower down as well. It just opens up a lot of lines of play. Rename finds another Sanctum and is in the driver's seat here. Rename is likely just kind of going to plan ahead here, right? If you know that this one is going to go down, you're going to say, okay, where am I most likely to take this game going forward? And with that Sanctum placement, that kind of tips his hand a bit.
Yeah, it's a prey on the weak to get some extra damage, and then also the Arcane Assault to get initiative back for lane 1.
That's just a taste of what
Stonehall Cloak or the Hourglass actually would come down onto the Skywrath Mage, saves it from upkeep kill and a kill onto that creep as well. Not that big of a prey on the weak, but still I think pretty valuable here. At 3 extra dogs, 6 extra damage. This turn is pretty important, I think. Jasper Daggers also kills the melee creep or even just the Blink Dagger.
Yeah, both of them are an option. So we do see the Revelation. Not a lot of risk there, but you get to go ahead and cycle and draw. I like that play.
Well, it gets the upkeep kill on Skywrath Mage, so unless you play something like an Eclipse.
Right, or if you're already planning on that being a blink target, perhaps Skywrath isn't going to be there.
Or you can do that.
Cunning Plan works as well.
Now you can play Prey on the Weak here and then just refresh for Arcane Assault. You could have played Conflagration as well, but you can play that from lane 1 to lane 2 next turn anyway.
I mean, at this point you have to assume that the mana is going to be used for...
We could see a blink from Skywrath to lane 3, for example, as well, just to get the extra, mana used.
Yeah, I was going to say...
you can Conflagration here, blink, and then Arcane Assault from lane 3 and contest every lane, so Annihilation is a little bit worse for Gela. But it looks like we're going to see Jasper Daggers instead just for damage.
And again, I like that play because, I mentioned earlier, these matchups are all about windows of opportunity, and Rename recognized that and created a big window of opportunity, took down one tower, and is threatening lethal on that second one.
And Gela very much a spectator.
Unfortunately.
Just as we are and the viewers are as well for this turn, but 5 heroes coming in this next turn. It's going to be, really important to see where each hero goes, how they play around things like Eclipse, for example. The health pools are very low for blue heroes, so it's going to be tricky. Annihilation as well, and initiative in hand for Rename.
Now, the way that Gela deploys her heroes is going to say a lot about what her plans are.
Zeus getting the kill on Zeus in this lane just means I think it's an auto redeployment in lane 1 if you're going to contest lane 1 anyway, because you have that just free chance to kill the Zeus, so why not?
See, it's interesting because if Gela wants to slow down that middle lane, even if she's thinking about maybe something like Annihilation, she has to likely commit multiple heroes there to do it, because you have to assume things like Eclipse or Mystic Flare are going to be available to your opponent.
If we see an Arcane Assault draw, I think the Zeus has to go lane 1. You have to contest it somehow.
You have to.
It's too scary otherwise.
Even though Rename only has one Thunder God's Wrath, there is a Sanctum and an Ogre in this first lane. You have to respect it, and it's like you said, right? Anytime you think your opponent doesn't have it, they always have it.
The Thunder Gods is going to be, I think, played here, maybe Conflagration. I mean, we could see both as well. There is an Arcane Assault, so you have the chance to play both. You can also play an Eclipse, for example, first to kill the Zeus, and then play
Sanctum.
the Sanctum Thunder Gods.
I think leading off with the Wrath, though, just because if you get the multicast, that tells you a lot about what your next action is going to be. Now, it is possible, again...
And we have, at any cost, could clear the board immediately if, even if you get the multicast and the Sanctum, it won't be there unless you get the Eclipse first, but okay.
Well, I guess what I was going to say is that if you know you get the multicast, you're okay with losing this here, because even if they wipe this board, then you'll have initiative back on the following side, and then you can just do it again. So I like leading off with that, and now basically kind of forces Gela to respond, because more is coming.
There's an Arcane Assault in hand for Gela, but if she plays that, she can't really play any control spells of her own, and the Sanctum will be played, it will be refreshed, and gives oh my god, the chance to play something like a Conflagration, for example, into lane 2, or even just hold initiative for Eclipse. for the next lane.
Yeah, this is a really scary position to be in if you're Gela. And she responds with her own Thunder God's Wrath.
It's going to be big, but well, it stops any kind of play being done here with a Sanctum. But initiative is now back in the favor of Rename. Only 1 mana available, so you can't play a Sanctum or an Arcane Assault. You can blink the Zeus, so that's a big health pool coming in to stop the guaranteed damage. You see 7 charges on Eclipse, which is pretty high. But
well, it's going to be... Ooh. Wow, going to the 3rd lane. Okay, so that's
a risky play.
That is a risky play, yeah.
There's no Ignite.
Maybe Gela is saying, hey, like, I need to take some risks to get back into this.
To kill everything here, so the damage won't be... I mean, there's a Sanctum as well, actually, so Eclipse kills everything with 8 charges here. It's a guarantee kill on all 3 heroes. You have the Sanctum as well to play something like a Dimensional Portal. It won't be enough. It'll be close, but not quite enough for lethal here.
Well, there is also the potential for something like that Revelations to just draw you into additional help.
Yeah. With 8 mana, you can play 2 4-mana cards, so you see the Dimensional Portal coming out instead. No Revelations. It's a riskier play, riskier line of play. Could have been.
I won't be so easy.
All right, so
this is the very safe play.
This is a very, very safe play.
A 16 health, 18 health Luna. We see a Stonehall Cloak putting in the work against something like a Thunder God's Wrath, killing from a different lane. And if anything blinks backwards, there's no deployment. So if something has to blink backwards, and then it's stunned. So there's nothing that can be done there other than serving as a body to block with, I guess. But yeah, very clean play by Rename. I think he has control of this game. 1 lane taken down already. Kana's still here in this lane as well to play something like Annihilation to just clear everything on the board anyway and have another solitary turn for next turn. So
yeah, and the unfortunate thing for Gela is she doesn't have alternative paths to victory. She's done 0 damage in that first lane, barely any damage here. I mean, we're going to get some more in, but not even enough to, like, next turn if she has a bolt, she could pressure this, but not enough in the middle lane to get it done either because of the glyph. So
Prey on the Weak isn't great. Only 2 Hounds going to be spawned here. The blink is there, but when you blink backwards into a Glyph of Confusion lane, you will be stunned.
Right.
Actually, it's only until the end of... Well, it's before the next combat phase, right? That's how it reads.
Well, I guess we are going to be finding out. Now, the interesting thing here is that by doing this, now that 3rd lane is still not in bolt range.
We're still
in the deploy phase.
It stuns it this round, so it's going to be unstunned for next turn. But initiative isn't there for... Well, it could be with Skywrath Mage, actually, so...
Skywrath coming down in that first lane, which will open up some plays for Gela. There's an awful lot of heroes at the fountain right now, so...
There's 2 Hourglasses as well, which is very scary, because now Rename can forget about drawing any cards for the rest of this game. We're going to be at 10 mana very soon, and that's kind of the mana play where Bolt comes down and just seals the deal. So
the good news for Rename is that he's already got a Bolt available, and so initiative is going to be really important going into this round.
There's an Arcane Assault here, which means that Thunder God's Wrath, for example, or Salamania can be played, and then all of a sudden everything is unlocked. So
yeah, Salamania is coming down, and I have to imagine we're going to see an awful lot of digging.
For those that don't know, Salamania basically allows you to play any card you want in your hand. It will refresh the mana after every card that is played, which means that you can play your whole hand.
Yeah, the only thing that's not online right now is Bolt of Damocles. Everything else can be played.
Well, I think you don't want to play Annihilation, for example, but...
Well, but it still can be played.
The potential's there.
Yeah, the potential's there. So...
Maybe a misclick, maybe a misdrag. Oops.
A little bit of a showmanship in your concede, maybe.
And now this is the turn for Rename to go into Solitaire mode. It's going to be a very long lane here. Well, only 1 minute on the clock for Gela, so I have to be careful about that. Mono Blue, of course, is a deck that really taxes you mentally, makes you think about a lot of different lines of play. And we see both players very pensive here, but...
Again, just trying to force damage in because Gela recognizes that in order to win this game, she has to get damage on these towers for Bolt to be able to close things out.
We see only a 5-charge Eclipse, no Luna in the lane there for Gela, so Luna's still at 17 health, going to buffer a lot of damage. Annihilation, I think, has to come down at this point. Mystic Flare also not going to be enough.
This is a dangerous position to be in.
Yep.
And there's the Annihilation.
And now it's all about the next turn, which is 10 mana, where Bolt comes online, and it's all about initiative and Annihilations and Bolts. That's all we're going to be. I mean, that's the big thing here. 4 deployments, 4 rename, and only 3 for Gela.
Depending on initiative and how things go, we do see Thunder God's Wrath in both players' hands, and both players are going to have access to Ogre.
And the blink back by Gela allowed her to not be stunned by Glyph this turn, but now everything is stunned that goes into that lane.
Yeah.
So things get even trickier. I mean, there's an extra layer of complexity there for rename and for Gela, because if you go into lane to defend it, plays can't be made.
So we see the one Ogre going into the first lane. We have to assume that that's going to be trying to set up an Annihilation to slow that down.
And this is where it gets really complex for both players. This is where Mono Blue, you know, you have to think about everything, not just what you're doing, but what your opponent is doing as well. And the plays are so diverse in what you can do with Mono Blue in terms of the effects, in terms of cross-lane abilities and bolts and eclipses and mystic flares, that you really have to think through so many different scenarios. It's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, so if you're watching at home and you're looking at this deploy, Rename is trying to put the Ogre in the first lane because there has to be an Annihilation or something to slow down the Incarnation, right? Both players are also trying to put one hero in the second lane because even if they're stunned this round, if you have a Jasper Daggers, for example, you could take off the stun if you're Gela. Now, it is worth noting, Jasper Daggers does not remove your own stun. So Rename can't actually remove, if he had a dagger. He does. He has the Jasper Daggers. We'll see if this actually comes into play here.
So both players have Jasper Daggers?
Yeah, because I missed it. I'll admit this live. I missed it once live on stream, and my chat lit me up for it. Jasper Daggers will not remove your own effects. It's only opponent's effects.
That's a very minute detail, but it's going to maybe decide this game.
Yeah.
So these are the important things that you have to know if you're a pro player, if you're aspiring to be a pro player. There are so many very small things that don't happen very often, but you have to be prepared for when they do happen. Annihilation comes down, stop the Salamene, just clears it from the board, and this lane is again reset for next turn. And still these lanes quite healthy for rename.
All right, so because of the daggers, Gela has an answer here.
Now, does rename? No. Has he read the text?
Yeah, exactly. Does rename no? Because I've made this mistake.
Does Gela no? Because if rename plays it and she thinks, and maybe she'll probably see she's still stunned, but we'll see. There's some mind games here. There's some potential for mind games.
I mean, rename is certainly taking some time to think about something here.
He can't play cards, so it can't
play
be that.
cards. Yeah, all right. I think
he knows.
I think he was reading, maybe reading the card, taking his time.
And there's the easy Eclipse, only 5 charges, but more than enough to clear this, very low amount of defense that rename has prepared here in Gela.
Yeah.
2 hourglasses, slowly coming back into this. And again, anything that comes into that lane is going to be stunned once again.
And that play is just as much about locking out rename from being able to do anything next turn as well as anything. You don't want that hero to become unstunned and be available the following round. 9
charges on Eclipse for rename.
That is a big Eclipse.
Is it big enough though? 4, 5, 6. It's not big enough to kill everything. Kana should survive on 3.
Wow.
The EU math checks out. Plus a zap there, still not enough. Just don't
now, unfortunately, so because of the blinks the previous round, as I said, Bolt of Damocles is not enough to push this tower. So Gela has to do something defensive, and it does opt for the Annihilation.
That is a defensive option.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Can confirm.
The board is clear.
We said it earlier, this was going to be one that had a lot of back and forth, a lot of ebb and flow, and that's exactly what we're seeing.
Very fun matchup. How are you doing, Charmer? Is this the funnest thing you've ever seen?
Listen, I like this. This is all about strategy. This is back and forth. This is all about making good decisions, baiting your opponent, getting them to use cards when they don't want to. I like everything about this. So, rename going into this first lane with the Luna because of the Blink Dagger, but also maybe some cross lane plays.
The locks here not fantastic. Only 1 lock because the second Hourglass hero, which is Skywrath Mage, is currently in the fountain, so his effect will not come into play. We see a very healthy Luna at 18 HP. And we could see a Conflagration come down to deal some extra damage. Diabolic to draw first.
Yeah, I mean, there's barely anything on the board, so this is a great time to use Diabolic. Even if the cards are going to be locked, you just say, hey, let's get the value while I can. And
next turn they'll be unlocked, so we'll come back into play.
Yeah, Conflagration could be an option, I believe. Rename has Ignites, but those are locked.
So many items in hand for Rename. I mean, he has too many items even, because if you overwrite the Stonehawk Plug with an Hourglass, and you're losing a lot of HP, so it's not really ideal.
You can't escape the dark.
There's the Conflagration. And you can play Arcane Assault and Blink, because then it kind of defeats the purpose, because you only have one hero in this lane. So Initiative not really in the favor of Rename. He does have a very healthy Luna, even healthier now. That seems like a trivial thing, but that health might matter to survive an Eclipse, for example, in a completely empty lane.
So Initiative is going to matter an awful lot in terms of who ends with Initiative at the end of this round, because both players are going to get a large number of heroes coming back next round. And again, we're past the 10 mana point, so both players are going to be looking for ways to secure that Bolt of Damocles to knock down a tower.
And Sanctum is huge here for Gela. You can play just a lot more cards. You have all the cycle cards available. You don't have any Hourglasses impeding your draw this turn as well, so it just opens up you to unlock basically your whole deck. And it also opens up things like Bolt of Damocles multicast and 40 HP in some lanes as well. So he can push it. He has a double-dimensional portal. He can definitely push the damage here if he needs it, just to take down his lane no matter what.
Right, and then that saves the Bolt for potentially that first lane, because that first lane's at 26, I believe. Yes. And if you do drop some heroes there, get a little bit of extra damage, and then get that Bolt in. But, I mean, you have to assume that Rename's going to know that's coming, going to deploy at least something there. It's still one Annihilation in hand, couple of Mystic Flares. This is a tight game. We are on mana turn 11, and it is still a very close game.
So we see the importance of the heal there, because this Luna would be at 12 HP otherwise, and that would be a Mystic Flare, just insta-kills it, perfect 12 HP. So that heal was hugely important. Even with the Zap from Zeus, it'll be only 13, so not enough to kill it instantly. The lane not taken by Gela, I think she still knows that she has the Glyph there, so it's going to be hard to stop it anyway.
All right, so
that's the Zap.
This is a Mystic Flare that will result in the kill because of the Zap.
And the Ignite, so the Ignite ticking with the Zap from Zeus, that, you know, sum up those 2 points from the heal, it still counters it, so in the end, I lied, it didn't matter, because of Ignite and the Zap from Zeus.
But we got there, and that's the important thing.
It's important that Rename, you know, even thinks about the possibility of that mattering. He's definitely thinking about all the possible cards he's playing against, and you know, what can really, you know, get a lot of value in this case, and that, you know, taking down the Luna was huge.
Now, I really liked that Dimensional Portal there, and the reason that I did is because if you fail at trying to take down this first lane, then you leave yourself open the third lane as like your backup, right? So if you make some deploys here in the first lane and force Rename to respect it, right? Or not. This is not what I was expecting at all. I expected at least one hero in the first lane to bait Rename there, but maybe Gela says, hey, I know that Rename has to respect it one way or the other, and I'll just juke him with the deployment.
I mean, there's nothing you can do here if you're Rename, I think. Having all the heroes in the last lane, because you have Arcane Assault in hand, and lane 2 you have the Glyph as well, there's no real way for Rename to do anything here. Arcane Assault is guaranteed from Ogre Magi in lane 2. He's at 11 health, so even double Thunder God's Wrath wouldn't be able to do it from lane 1. You can't cast anything in lane 2 because of it's your own Glyph, so even with Jasper Dagger, there isn't the line of play does not exist. And having all those heroes in lane 3 means, and the creeps means that some things like Eclipse, direct damage, spells can't really do anything. Kana being at 12 HP also means that Thunder God's Wrath. Again, this is a checkmate, I think, from Gela. It's not clear yet, but I believe there isn't a line of play that Rename can go down. The Bolt is guaranteed as well in lane 3.
Well, adding to the plot thickens
Sanctum,
here.
though.
Rename is also pretty low on time.
That's also true.
Rename is down to only 19 seconds with these new timers, and now it's ticking.
And the 40 HP as well on... Well, that might change things. There's damage from Ignite and Conflagration, but I still think... I mean, this softens up the heroes for something like an Eclipse, a huge Eclipse to come down.
If there was a multicast, now, unfortunately, Ogre did not help out, but if there was a multicast, it could have been a very big deal.
Second Ignite can come down. It's going to insta-kill all the creeps and the Luna, but Initiative is still in hand for Gela. She'll have heroes alive. There's a second Thunder God's Wrath actually, but still, what? Wait a minute. Everything dies. So Thunder God's Wrath comes down. Double Ignite and Conflagration.
Well,
it's soft enough. There's going to be 2 heroes at 2 HP.
Rename did find the response. And again, that was why I was a little surprised at the all-in by Gela there, right? I expected at least something here to contest, but...
Yeah, Rename has it, so I lied. It wasn't a check. I mean, it was very close, but with double Ignite, Conflagration, and double Thunder God's Wrath, that's enough AoE damage from lane 1, where even if Gela is able to Blink Dagger the Ogre to lane 3, she loses initiative, so it opens up something like an Eclipse or a Mystic Flare even, because everything dies in this lane. Literally every single thing in this lane will die to Ignite and Conflict. You see a very wide lane, but all of a sudden, these improvements destroy it completely.
But unfortunately, right now, doesn't mean that Rename is going to secure a victory unless...
Well, I mean, there's no deployments.
Yeah.
For next turn, unless, you know, of course, the Ogre Magi blinks to lane 1, for example. That could make things interesting again, but he has to take this lane as well. It's not taken down yet. It's at 4 HP, so...
Well, what I was going to say is that unless we see something kind of crazy here with Blink Daggers, right? So after this lane goes down on the following turn, because it won't die this turn, right? So on the following turn, Gela will at least have the option to throw a Blink Dagger on this Ogre, send it over. Now, that gives away initiative. Rename will have an answer, but that will be, it looks like, her only line. Another Ignite. Digging a little bit deeper, trying to find any hope.
There's no Thunder Gods, there's no Hourglass either, so all these spells that are drawn can be played instantly, but no Thunder Gods is drawn to try and do the same.
Do you think that maybe Gela realizes that because of the Ignites it's going and that she might actually send the Ogre?
I mean, of course, yeah, 100%. I mean, she sees the Ignites conflict. She's not going to, you know, take her Ogre to lane 3. That makes no sense whatsoever. It has to be lane 1. It has to fight Luna for initiative, but again, you lose initiative blinking, and Rename can just pass in lane 3 even. He doesn't have a Sanctum down. He has 11 mana, but, I mean, the Bolt could come down as well. And this is clear. I mean, you're taking this tower this turn with a Dimensional Portal, well, next turn actually with a stun. Because I think Ogre will have to blink here. I mean, there's no way it can stay in this lane.
It's going to have to go, just like you said, to the first lane, and then just hope for something the following turn.
There's no heal either in hand for Gela, so, I mean, even if she thinks she could do something lane 3 without initiative, which there's no way either way. But this is Rename slowing it down. He's not going to win here. But that is quite the fireworks.
That's pretty close to winning.
He has the bolts.
That's a really effective play.
Now, the Sanctum was locked.
Right.
So you couldn't play, but you can't get the win here. Because that Sanctum was, so the Hourglass is coming in huge here. There's a multicast. Even then, even if there's another one, there's not enough.
Come to my army.
Oh, my goodness. So he has lane 1, RNG, and lane 3. And this is unbeatable.
All right.
I would have liked to see Damaging Maul trigger first before just to take on an Ignite. There's no reason not to.
No reason not to. I think he's just excited. I don't think he was expecting to get so many dimensional portals off.
And now this is going to be, this is just it for Rename. I think he has initiative. He has Mystic Flares. Ogre is all alone in that lane. Again, we saw the Solitaire play coming in.
Those portals are so huge because even if Gela were to draw something that allowed her to take out the heroes from this first lane, the presence of the creeps now will secure it. That was kind of backbreaking.
Mystic Flare comes in. It makes it so that Gela cannot do anything this turn but watch, same as us, and Rename has total control. This lane will not be going down, but there's the direct forfeit. I think she knows lane 3 is done for. And that was, we talked about Gela having the checkmate. And it looked like it, considering the boards and the confusion as well, but because there was the exact hand needed, which was double Ignite, Conflagration, and Thunder God's Wrath, the double Thunder God's Wrath had to get from lane 1, just to the right cards to unlock that situation and give Rename back the win there. Yeah,
that was kind of a marathon. And so after a game like that, right, we're going to be going to another game. Do you think that fatigue is setting in, like mental fatigue here?
I mean, Slacks on the analyst panel said that because it's a mono-colored deck, it could be the easiest to play. But I think Mono Blue has proven to be the hardest deck to play in Artifact right now because of the complexity of blue. I think everyone knows the high IQ color And in this case, it shows just a lot of line of plays, a lot of different ways to play it with initiative as well. Very important, and it showed why. We thought, even us seeing every single card in the hand, thought it was a guaranteed win for one player, and then all of a sudden, it switches around completely.
Well, Gela's going to be on blue again because of the Conquest style format, and now Rename is on red-green ramp. A bit of a high roll deck, as we've said before, but this hand doesn't look like a ramp hand, right? We see Mist, we see some creeps.
I mean, you're not complaining. You have the duel, you have the early game cards you need early game. You want to, you depend on drawing the high-end cards later on. It's kind of, some RNG, but I mean, I guess all of red-green is RNG. But in this case, yeah, it's just a great hand to start off with. Mist, Bronze Legionnaire, duel as well, Savage Wolf to develop early next turn as well. But it's also a pretty good hand for Gela. You have the Ignites early on and the Sanctum as well.
So Gela here, a bit of a disadvantage in this first round simply because, not many cards to play. I mean, we did see the Ignite here, but looking very, very strong opening here for Rename.
And we've seen this matchup before. Before it used to be more of the Storm version instead of mono blue, but some of the principles still apply where blue can go quite wide with, especially in the Kana lane with Prayer on the Weak, with Dimensional Portal, and red-green doesn't have a great answer to that. Although with this version with Lycan, you do have that extra creep in Savage Wolf instead of the Gust, for example, with Drow, so, and the chance to kill off creeps easier in the the board state control. So a little bit more favor, but still has that, I think, that same problem with dealing with a wide board until you get to the 8 mana for Time of Triumph, for example.
Now, this is a big arrow that this Bristle catches here. Bristle's already secured 1 kill, and he is hunting for another.
There's a chance for a Sanctum into Prayer on the Weak, for example, and the exact spawn you need.
Yeah, it would be a very, very small % chance. Well, not 1/3, but less than 50. You always feel bad, right?
The Sanctum in lane 2 instead, and this is just Gela saying, well, you can take this lane for now because I am out of here. And I hope I draw an Eclipse later on before you take it because it's looking scary. Bronze Legionnaire, we see the Train and the Bristleback as well with 4 armor already. Now,
the one thing to note about Rename's red-green list here is that there are no Demagicking Mauls. There is no Smash the Defenses. So if Gela can get some of those supports online, like the Ignites and the Sanctums, which are the big one, that's going to be a big swing in terms of resource management in her favor. And I think that is going to be kind of the key here, right? As we're talking about, Rename certainly has the ramp in his list, but those Sanctums are a big deal.
And look at these heroes for red-green ramp. Let's also talk about the armor. 4 out of 5 heroes have some form of armor in play, and against something like Eclipse and Thunder God Wrath, it doesn't matter too much, but against Mystic Flare, it'll be very important to see how that, blocks a lot of damage later on with the armor, so we'll see how that affects this matchup.
Yeah, poor Lycan here, the one that doesn't have armor or Grant armor, just kind of along for the ride, not wearing plate mail, not wearing chain mail.
I mean, looking at the situation, I think he's still liking it, right?
And you got on me.
What? I didn't. Was that a pun there? I didn't intend that. I'm sorry, John. I'm just talking about the game.
Okay, I see how it's going to be now, Panda. I see how it is going to be.
But there we talked about the very wide board, and Prey on the Weak comes down, and there's very little that Rename can do about that. It's going to be damage come in next turn as well. There's a Berserker's Call up in 2 turns, but still, again, it's like kind of a mid-range clear.
Now, the thing that's working in Gela's favor here is the Kana is likely going to secure that 3rd lane. But the thing that's working against her is it's the 3rd lane. Much like you said earlier, you'd prefer to have Kana be online and active in that 1st lane. Really helps set up the Thunder God's Wrath plays and things like that. And instead, Rename has massive control of this 1st lane, and it's only getting worse.
And some variants of red-green stopped running Emissary, for example, in Seed Story Cup. And there was some meta shifts that made it so that Emissary wasn't really run as much, but it's now back in full force in most decks, and that means that the Ancient Kill is there. You can't really leave lane 1 open and just say, oh, nothing's going to happen here, it's fine, especially with Mist as well. So
yes,
Gela has to respect it. There's going to be a hopeful chance for Annihilation next turn on her side. She wants to draw it this turn, hopefully, and keep initiative and be able to play that next turn as well. We'll see if she does draw it here, but already this lane, if his lane's taken down this turn, it's huge. I mean, the fact that this clock can be taken down this early.
The Dimensional Portal was a very big pickup here because even if you had the opportunity to use it to stall, it would have been great. However, Duel is going to deny that.
We see the ramp there. We don't see the payoff just yet. There's no Time of Triumph. There's no emissary in hand right now, but it could find its way into Rename's hand next turn.
The payoff is that this tower is going down.
That is true.
And with a board this wide and a Mist of Avernus there, it means that essentially next turn, Gela's going to have to start thinking about maybe clearing this up. And if Rename can make a play for initiative, right? Because we see no Arcane Assault. If he can make a play for initiative here, might be able to really snowball this first lane. Blink Dagger comes down. Curious to see if this is going to be just for damage or if this is actually going to reposition Bristle, and there it is.
That's huge. I mean, it blocks damage in lane 3, but it also, you know, allows Gela to only play one blue hero in this lane next turn to defend it. The tower still goes down, but before, you have the threat of a duel, of a Berserker's Call coming down, even with initiative, if you don't find Annihilation, where now you can only play one blue hero and it'll probably survive against, you know, a deck that doesn't have Drow, for example, and no Gust available.
Definitely kind of like tips your hand in terms of what you're trying to do, what you're planning, because there's no other Blink Dagger, no other mobility. You're not going to go backwards with this axe, for example, to put a red hero back there. This is...
Now the Maul is in hand for Rename. It could threat both the Ignite and the Sanctum, but... Ooh. Now all of a sudden the Sanctum has to come down first. So this is a play for initiative here. Maul comes down, Sanctum refreshes, and it's too late for the Dimensional Portal to come down, so...
So that's a really big pickup. Again, we were talking about the lists earlier. That is a buy from the secret shop.
Just an action turn too late here. Gela would want to play Dimensional Portal. Would have wanted to play it first before the Compel, but in this case now...
Yeah, and it hits the Sanctum. Huge.
And we talked about the possibility of that happening. I mean, Ignite would still kill the Lycan, but there is a Healing Salve in hand, so Rename will save that Lycan. And there's the importance, we talked about it, where you play a card, you think you have the guaranteed refresh, you can play Dimensional Portal, which is the more important card after, but... You're punished by the Maul.
Right, and that's one of those things where you're not really trying to play around the Maul because, again, you see the open lists, and so not the sort of thing that you were expecting. Because Maul shares a cost with other common items like a Jasper Dagger or something like that, if you see the 5 gold spent, again, you're not really thinking, oh, they got the Maul from the Secret Shop. Secret Shop, big impact in a couple of the games today so far.
And we see Berserker's Call open here, and a 12... attack Bristleback means that all of a sudden Kana is out of there, as well as 2 creeps. Dimensional Portal can come down before that because of the initiative, but it will still open a sizable gap in Gela's board.
Yes, this is a big Berserker's Call. And just like that, Rename is kind of in control of that lane that Kana was looking to snowball.
It is still down to 24 HP, but would still in his favor with 8 mana. Time of Triumph can be drawn, and that's all of a sudden a lot of trouble.
And Gela's in a pickle because, as we said, with the Mist, you can't ignore that first lane for forever. Opted not this turn and said...
but this is you're really hoping for Annihilation next turn, and you're really hoping to have to commit next turn. So
this is, I mean, it's a risk that you could argue she has to take, right? Wow, not looking good for Gela right now. Let's see what the... Oh, the players pick up. All right, so Emissary is picked up. Still a couple of, Magicka away normally, but we see Stars Align in hand. That is...
And still no Annihilation drawn for Gela, so this might just be, incredibly hard to defend next turn. It's not played. Instead, Initiative, well, not even Initiative is kept, but I think Rename kind of knows that he doesn't maybe need it because... Yeah, Gela, if she has an Annihilation, she stops all the damage there anyway, and you kind of wasted your Emissary, so I like that.
Yeah, it wasn't enough to take it that turn, so there's no point in making a play like that if you're not convinced that you have some other way to push it next turn.
You'd rather Stars Align here, but Mystic Flare will kill the Lycan, which stops the Emissary from coming down. Only Viscous Nasal Glue available, not a very impactful play in the mid-game, especially not in this situation where nothing's really dealing damage to the blue heroes anyway.
Yeah, this is one of those scenarios where if you really want the initiative for the third lane, then you just pass. But if you don't care about initiative, playing it and at least getting it on something might not be the end of the world. It's just not helpful.
And there's no green heroes in lane 3, so that Emissary is going to be stuck in hand for one more turn, even with Stars Align and Slam in his favor already on the board in lane 3 as well. There's no Blink Daggers, and Lycan did just pass away for now anyway. He'll be back from the grave later on.
All right. Kept initiative. Unfortunately, no way to take advantage of it.
Eclipse at 4 charges could potentially only hit the bristleback in a perfect world, but now it's not great anymore.
Yeah. So the Flask reduces the risk of the Eclipse, and then I have to imagine we're likely going to see a Stonehull Cloak either here or maybe saved next turn for the Axe, but...
Ignite could come down in lane 1. It kills the Bronze Legionnaire at least, but still not fantastic. And there's just not a great hand for Gela. I mean, the Eclipse isn't going to be too impactful just yet. At any cost with the armor, with the very high health heroes we talked about, not great either. And Ignite just not doing enough right now. It's just not the board you want to see. Ignite, I mean, 2 Ignites is great, but still, 12 HP and 8 HP is still very high.
All right, so the Nasal Goo comes down here.
So initiative not really, respected by Rename. Just goes for the Viscous Nasal Goo instead. And that could be punishing for the next turn.
Well, I mean, the thing that you would be worried about, right, would be Annihilation in the first lane. And you've only got a green hero there, so you don't have... This isn't the Gust list. There's no way to interrupt with just a green hero, so keeping Annihilation doesn't matter, or excuse me, Initiative doesn't matter, because if they play Annihilation, you get it guaranteed in the second lane, so bit of a freebie there.
And Rename has no chance to challenge it, really. He can't play the Initiative payoff game because he has nothing to pay off or to stop it from happening anyway, so... That is true. We'll see if Kana can stop this assault. All of a sudden, the arrows are looking pretty good, at least. She takes them. Well, she dies, but Sanctum
so
is
we see
okay.
a Sanctum and an Annihilation. That is a big pickup here for Gela.
Now, do you risk it? Do you wait one more turn?
I'm not sure that you can risk it. And the reason that I say that is because while there's no red heroes here this turn, we do know Bristle has a Blink Dagger, right? And if you let this go, right, you don't annihilate this turn, then you do force yourself to have initiative the following turn, because I would assume that Bristle would be coming over.
You have no idea.
Nope.
All right. Gonna go with the at any cost instead.
This opens up Eclipse to be a possibility next turn. Hourglass comes down. Again, going to be locking a lot of Gela's cards. Going forward.
And yeah, and that's a pretty big deal. So Sanctum comes down. It looks like Gela's gonna try to turn this lane around just completely in her favor, maybe, or maybe set up future Thunder God's Wraths.
Now, if Emissary comes down, now this could be Annihilation. This could be the bait, but you're losing, at any cost and Annihilation just to stop this lane is a feels bad moment, I think. But Eclipse is useless now all of a sudden. So.
It feels bad, but losing feels worse. So
that's true. I can confirm also. I lose a lot, Charmer.
You and me both, buddy. All right, so Gela has a lot to think about here. The Eclipse, again, not as useful here because that Emissary has a massive 10 health pool. Well, that doesn't really signal to me Annihilation. You don't typically heal a hero in a lane that you're about to blow up, so...
Tower still survives. You don't really have to use it this turn.
Yeah, it's not a requirement, but it's going to really put the pressure on this next time around. All right. We are going to see a very interesting lane 1 in the following round.
And there isn't a glyph in Gela's list, so I think that's why Rename did not respect the use of Jasper Daggers for later on either. He just played it immediately for the damage, which is fine in some matchups as well. Eclipse here is going to clear up this lane pretty easily. Not going to be lethal just yet. Or it's a pass, actually.
Spring the Trap is a pretty big play here.
But this is good for Gela, because that's all of a sudden it's baited. Maybe Rename might think that, I like that as well. It sets up the Ignite upkeep kill. She sees no items in hand for Rename, so she guarantees that. This tower's going to go down slowly anyway, and it wasn't lethal this turn, so there was no rush to take it down immediately.
So the reason that I like that play by Rename with the Spring the Trap is that Rename might be thinking if they had Annihilation this last turn, they probably would have played it, right? I gave them a lot of opportunities. I emissaried, I did some things. Annihilation never came down. And then if I play this Hourglass, they can't draw an Annihilation to help them next turn. So, I kind of like the mindset there by Rename. Now, unfortunately, Gela was being ultra conservative, waiting to the last moment to play this Annihilation, and so she's going to benefit from that. But I can at least understand Rename's potential line of thought there.
This is very weird to see. Both players with such small hands, kind of burned out all of the cards, haven't found enough cards on in terms of mono blue, and there it is. There's the blink from Bristleback. So. This is the long con from Gela.
Yeah.
Putting out that bait, saying I don't have Annihilation. This tower's down to 7. Second tower's down to 10. Eclipse kills the second. Well, the Ignite kills the second lane completely, and Eclipse kills the third. And Initiative is there for Gela as well. So.
Yeah, Gela is going to be rewarded for taking meticulous care of her resources.
And look at that's going to be the Lycan taken down as well. So Rename falls into the trap. Annihilation, if you had it in hand, maybe you expect it to be played last turn. But in this case, it's going to be 3 heroes for 1. Stops the lethal onto this first lane. Initiative is there, so Berserker's Call or Duel can't kill the Kana either.
Yeah, there is nothing that can be done. Rename completely fell into Gela's trap. Rename might have played Spring the Trap, but it was Gela really springing it.
Lane 2, Axe can't be doing, even with Initiative, can't do anything. He'll die, upkeep kill to the Ignite. It is piercing damage and only 1 health there. There was no item in hand to heal him or to put a cloak on him, for example, in the last turn. And there isn't an Arcane Assault in hand for Gela, so that means that Lane 3 with Berserker's Call and Time of Triumph could still be in trouble there. But this is a huge turn of events for Gela in her favor. This lane not taken down yet either. There's no, again, Dimensional Portal.
It was 4 heroes going to the fountain, though. This is, we talk about windows of opportunity, right? Exploiting, those moments where things are open. This is it. Gela has created a fantastic window of opportunity.
This is Berserker's Call coming down, or Time of Triumph. Depends on what you're scared. I think
you don't even want to let him play a card. You take that call.
But still 20 HP on the tower, still very healthy. Stonehall Lee's a great draw, actually, for 4 mana exactly, so Rename cannot be sad about that one.
Yeah, the Hamburglar there is going to take out a creep and grow. And the unfortunate thing, though, for Rename is that we're now approaching the late game where Bolt of Damocles matters, right? Yep. So even if he wrestles away control of that third lane, it's only going to take 1 bolt to finish it off. And I have to assume that's where the mage is going.
Huh. I'm surprised you don't see a Skywrath Mage in lane 1. Yeah, to blink, you can use the mana there. You have the Sanctum there as well to play a Thunder God's Wrath where Ignite would kill the Legion completely. So I do like this a lot more. You have the blink, so why not? You have 2 blinks, actually. So there's no reason not to spend all your mana. Especially with Sanctum in that lane as well. It just makes a ton more sense.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that you would potentially be fearing would be Initiative, right?
Although the Hourglass is still there.
The Arcane Assault makes that not matter now, but before there was no Arcane Assault, right? So blinking over would have been a bit risky.
The Treant had the Hourglass, so all of a sudden Gela has a chance to play real Solitaire. She has Incarnation. She can go completely Solitaire with, Foresight. You have Arcane Assault to draw as well instead of Initiative, and if you find the right cards.
Well, this lane also has Sanctum, so she doesn't even need to play Salamene here if she doesn't want to.
Huh. Well, you have the Arcane Assault. I guess she wants to just seal the deal. This just wins it. There's no reason to play it here.
Yeah, I think that the lane 1 play was because there was no Arcane Assault before, but now...
Or here even. I mean, you want to get the extra damage on the tower as well. You're only dealing 2, so you get the body from Salamene, as well as anything you draw.
Yep. I like this line. This is...
Well, the Arcane Assault does it here as well, so...
This is all Gela.
Don't think that was necessary, but...
Sometimes you just want to be sure.
I mean, you don't have the guaranteed...
Wow. All right.
I don't think she needs it. She has the Eclipse for lane 3, and of course, there's more than enough charges. So
this is it.
This is game.
This is game in favor of Gela, and I don't know if you know this or not, but this means that Slacks is going to be 2-0.
Well, Slack said Gola. I don't know who Gola is personally. I have not seen Gola in the tournament. Cola or Gola. I mean, maybe they might be twin brothers, but they're not in this group. So maybe he's talking about Group B. I don't know all the players yet. We'll see. We'll find out. But Slacks is not right. I'm not going to give that one.
I have a feeling Slacks is going to celebrate like he was right.
We'll give him half a point then. Is that fair?
No, he was right.
He gets it.